Hi, I'm Michael Saban. I'm here today at Numark to talk to you about their latest controller, the 4-Track. The 4-Track is the ultimate software controller for Traktor. It supports up to 4 decks of mixing with Traktor software. It has a fully integrated analog 4-channel mixer built in, as well as a 12-knob FX console, and a whole lot more. Let me show you around. The unit itself offers a variety of inputs and outputs, including 2 microphone inputs, 4 line inputs, 2 of which are switchable to Phono in case you want to include turntables in your setup, RCA master output as well as XLR balanced outputs, and a separate set of RCAs which can be used for booth or zone, which is essential for live settings. There's 3 buttons for transport that are on the bottom of the 4-track. There's a sync button, which syncs the BPM of the track to the one that's currently playing. There's a cue button, which acts as a momentary play, so you can cue the track before it plays, or you can use it to tease a track, and there's the play button. Above the platter, there's a section for loops. There's 3 different ways to set loops. You can hold the shift button, and you can select between 2, 8, 16, and 32 bar loop. You can set a manual loop with the in and out button. You can also set an auto loop by using the loop length buttons here. You set the loop ahead of time, and then you just hit auto in order to start the loop, and you hit auto again to turn it off. You also can shift the loop once it's playing, so if you have a 4-bar loop playing, and you hit the loop shift either forwards or backwards, you can move the loop in however many bars it's playing. So if it's a 4-bar loop, you can move it forward 4 bars. If it's an 8-bar loop, you can move it forward 8 bars. And then you just hit the auto button again, and you go back to playing the track. Alright, let's get a track loaded up. This section of the 4-track allows for full mouseless browsing, which means you do not have to touch your computer at all to get tracks loaded up. I'm going to use this knob right here to scroll through my tracks. When I get to the playlist or folder that I want, I push on it to expand, and I'm going to go down to the playlist that I want. You hit the song button right here to switch over and browse through songs. And the favorites button is so that you can scroll through your favorite playlist, which you can store right above your browser section. So we're going to go back to songs, right here, select the one that I want, and now I have the option to load into deck A, B, or C, and deck D, depending upon which deck is highlighted. I'm going to load this one here into deck B and get it playing. All right, let's talk a little bit about the platters. The 4-track offers 14-bit MIDI platters with 3600 ticks per rotation, which means that they're very high resolution. There's 2 modes in the platter. The first is scratch, which is great for turntablists, and the second is going to be pitch mode, which allows you to make minor adjustments on the side or top, which is great when you're beat matching. Along the right side of the platters, you have your pitch adjust fader. There's a range button above that, which allows you to select the range of the pitch adjustment. You can go from anywhere between 2% and 100%, which allows for some great creative mixing. Below the platters, you have cue points. There's 5 of them. Each one of them I have assigned here to different portions of the song. I tend to use them for creative mixing, doing maybe some beat juggling. You can actually make them on the fly as well. If I want to set one here, I just push the button. And if I want to erase it, I hold Shift and press 5 again to erase it. One of the other things you can use the cue points for is skipping over a big buildup like this. Once you get to a point that you want to skip over, you just hit the other button and you go right to the end of it. Another way to navigate through the track is strip search. The way to use strip search is holding the Shift button, and you can either push to do virtual needle drops throughout the track, or you can drag your finger to the right and left to scrub through the track. Let's talk a little bit about the mixer. Each channel on the mixer has a knob for gain control, 3-band EQ, as well as a button for headphone cueing. The switch right here is used to toggle between your live analog input and PC. You'll see this change reflected within Traktor software when you switch it to your analog input. Each channel is assignable to the crossfader. The crossfader itself is fully replaceable. On the front of the unit here, you'll see there's a knob for crossfader curve control. This is used to attenuate the crossfader. If you turn it to the right, you have a nice quick cut on the crossfader, which is great for turntablists. And if you turn it all the way to the left, you'll have a nice, slow, gradual curve, which is great for blending tracks together. On the right and left of the knob, you'll see there's a switch for fader start. When both of these are switched to on, you can use the crossfader to actually start deck A and deck B. So if I move it all the way to the left, you see deck A starts, and if I move it to the right, we have deck A starting. Both tracks are synced together, so I can either juggle between the two, or I can play them both at the same time. Alright, let's talk a little bit about key lock. With this button here engaged, it doesn't matter how far you move the pitch in the plus or negative, your track always stays in the same key. This is great when beat matching and creating custom blends because you allow both tracks to stay in the same key. You also have a knob to make adjustments to the key yourself, which is another great way to mix two tracks together, staying in key if maybe the track you're starting with is not in the proper key to begin with. You can also use this to create build-ups and custom blends. Just a little feature I like to use to add a little flavor into the mix. Alright, there's 4 filters, one of which coincides with each channel in the mixer. There's a button below the filter to engage it. You have a high and low pass filter. There's also 6 knobs which coincide with 6 effects in the actual effects command unit. Each one of these controls the parameters of the effect within Traktor software. You can do up to 6 effects per channel. Right above the channel strip here, there's a button that engages the effect. You can do some great stuff with effects layering. There's also buttons, knobs, and faders that say assign under them. Each one of these is customizable with your own Traktor mapping that you might want to make. Numark was nice enough to include these. They're great for advanced mappings to stuff like effects. You could move your load buttons around or anything you wanted. We'll get into that a little bit more in some future videos. So that's it. It's a Numark 4-track. Make sure you check back again to see some of our other videos where we'll dive a little bit more in depth into effects, custom mappings, and the likes.